What's going on with the this Impossible Burger trend, KT?
Oh boy, boy, boy. So that's a good question. And it's like, the whole thing about a veggie burger is like I always talk about taste and texture. I tell people that it's not hard to become vegan because it's not that you love meat, you love taste and texture. So if somebody can replicate that taste and texture and it's plant-based, you won't miss it. Hence this veggie burger industry that we got right now. Because if you're thinking about some on the go food that you could just have, the quintessential fast food thing is usually going to be what, a pizza, hot dog, or a burger, or wings. Like that's what everybody thinks of. So of course there's gonna be a mad dash to get it right. Shoot, people who's at home and become vegan, they making a mad dash just in their own kitchen, trying to put something together.
Right, right.
But in this case, we're dealing with something a little different. We're dealing with people that are taking advantage of a lane, as opposed to opportunists just trying to help the population. Um, Usually when something is too good to be true, it usually is, and they telling you straight up. It's called Impossible Burger. They let you know what I'm saying?
uh,
And when you look at mythology and you look at what another word for impossible was, or hope, or a hope or wish that somebody had, but it's impossible, that's called chimera. And in mythology, chimera is like a hybrid crossbreed of a bunch of different animals, like goats, a lion, and a snake, kind of merged together, like mutated together. Y'all can look it up. I think it's even in the Bible. But chimera is an interesting term for it. Now, that's exactly what this burger is. Now, just to give y'all an example, what I'm talking about, anytime you have Bill Gates as your investor,
mm,
you gotta pay attention to it. You know what I'm saying?
mm.
This is a guy that is, diabolical in every sense of the word. You see all the stuff that he's done in Africa. The deep thing about him and Steve Jobs is the fact that the same devices and technology that they give to the world, they don't allow their own children to use.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of people don't even know that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like anytime he invests in anything, it ain't nothing good because it ain't nothing he's investing in for his own children.
Mm,
So what you got is Silicon Valley, just starting up a company, and they're just like so gung ho. Yeah, they're so gung ho on trying to figure out how to get this burger perfect.
mm.
And it's like, why? Y'all are Silicon Valley. Y'all supposed to be on computers in the future and technology. So then you got to sit back and say, wait a minute, maybe that's exactly what the hell this is.
Mm.
maybe I should stop questioning myself on, man, y'all dealing with technology. What y'all want to do with a burger? And say, oh, snap, maybe the technology is the burger.
Mm.
Because my thing is this: we look at all these movies with Terminators and The Matrix, and the what is it called, iRobot, and all this stuff with technology taking over, and we always look at it and say, man, there's so many signs that show people when everything gonna turn, and I know if I see them signs, I ain't about to let that happen to me.
Right,
But
right.
those signs is different to every population and group of people, and we're provided with signs all the time that we ignore. So in this case, we're dealing with a situation where Silicon Valley, um, um, what's his name, Bill Gates, in addition to a lot of other figureheads that you would be surprised about, are all putting dough and putting bread into getting this burger right. And it's like, why? Why is Tyson? Why is Bill Gates? Why are all these people putting all this money in this burger? And it's like, okay, let me see what's going on here. So what we're looking at here with the Impossible Burger, it bumped the burger. It don't got nothing to do with the burger. Just like when we get into the 5G, it don't got nothing to do with you being able to look at 50 different Netflix movies at the same time. That ain't what it's about. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
What we're dealing with this burger is the politics of gene editing. Do you understand? Gene editing. And what is gene editing? Gene editing is, oh man, I got a big nose from my father and I got droopy earlobes from my mother. I don't like neither one of those. You know what? I'm going to go inside my genes. I'm going to edit it the same way I can edit a the same way that I can edit a like book report or a Word document so that now my nose is slimmer and my earlobes don't droop as much.
Mm.
That's what gene editing is, because
Right.
your heredity, your everything that's about you, your eyes, your kneecaps, your height, you know what I'm saying? The tone
Yeah.
of your voice, all
Yeah.
that stuff comes through heredity.
Right.
And those are genes. So if I can edit my genes and I can edit me, if I want purple hair, if I want polka dot elbows, if I want a rhino horn, you know what I'm saying, coming out my shoulder, that's gene editing. So what's going on with these burgers is they're trying to get gene editing to become something that's accepted by the masses by ponying it in on some Trojan horse stuff through this burger. Because if the burger passes, then that means the whole politics behind gene editing is accepted in
Right.
proxy. You see?
Right. Right.
So what's going on with this burger? How they make this burger? Well, they figured out what was the thing that people were looking for in a burger. They was like, what is the flavor? What is that taste when you put it on the grill and you get the little char grill marks and you put your burger on the bread, lettuce, tomatoes, and the condiments? Then what is it? What is it that you eat and that you're gonna? Oh yeah, for y'all people in the chat, don't be jumping ahead. You know what I'm saying? You don't spoil it for everybody. Let people take time to understand this science that I'm about to drop down, because they do not know what a CRISPR-Cas9 is. Just chill. We're gonna get there, all right? Y'all cats, boy, think y'all know everything. Just relax and breathe. So what ends up happening is with this gene editing is they're trying to get this thing passed. So they figured out what the flavor is, what the taste is that they've been looking for, and the taste is called heme, Heme. Heme. And y'all have heard that term before. What is heme? Rich, where have you heard the term heme? You've heard heme attached to another word that has something to do with your body. Where have you heard that word before?
Well, hemoglobin.
There we go. Hemoglobin. And what is hemoglobin? Globin is just describing the type of protein it is, and heme is describing a molecule, a chromophore, so to speak, which is a molecule that's able to absorb light. And in this particular instance, a heme describes a chromophore that has iron in its core, like you said, in hemoglobin.
Mm-hmm.
So hemoglobin is found where, Rich? And what?
In your blood.
In your blood. So what are they saying? They saying the same thing Sabi said.
Mm.
Starch and blood is what everybody like to eat up in here. Blood and starch, blood and starch. So they found out that the missing ingredient was heme, which was the blood taste, the iron that gets burnt and heated up and oxidized, on the stove. That's the grill. That's what everybody likes. So they was like, yo, how we gonna get heme in the burger? Because heme is not found in plants, right? Because you got two types of iron that we get inside of our body, Rich. You got heme iron and you got non-heme iron. The heme iron is the iron that comes out of myoglobin and hemoglobin, out of muscle tissue and the bloodstream, right? Then you have non-heme iron, which you find inside of plants. Well, heme iron is way more bioavailable, meaning your body is going to soak it up real good. It's like a perfect sponge. It's going to absorb it in, but it's going to do it at a very rapid rate. And sometimes, like a club, that lets people in the club too quickly can create a lot of chaos. That's why you got bouncers and ID and all that stuff to kind of filter the flow. So it's not all about how fast you get everybody in. You want to make sure you're getting quality individuals in there. So when you go over to the non-heme iron, it's not as bioavailable. It's moving a lot slower. So then people would think, oh man, I need to eat flesh and blood because that iron is way more bioavailable than the other iron. But what you do is you look in your environment and you find that all the high iron plants sit right next to the fruits and other things that produce high amounts of vitamin C. And in order for you to absorb iron properly, you need to eat vitamin C along with it, in which vitamin C increases the bioavailability of the non-heme iron, where it becomes even more bioavailable than the heme iron from the flesh. So the long story short, as long as you taking in vitamin C with non-heme iron, you're good. So to get back to the burger, so how do I get heme iron from a non-animal source? And they find out that you can find a heme iron inside of plants in the root nodules of pea plants. You know, chickpeas, peas, beans, things that fall in the legume family.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, they found it in soybeans. So
Mm.
they looked in the root of the soybean and they found that the root nodules produce something called leg hemoglobin, and the leg stands for legume. So legume hemoglobin. So now we have a soy plant, not just any soy plant, but a GMO soy plant whose root nodules produce a heme iron. Now they like, yo, if we can extract this heme from this soybean root nodule, then we can utilize that to be the blood for the burger. But they was like, yo, do you know how much damn soy we gotta grow to be able to extract a substantial amount of heme to make all these burgers? We're not going to be able to satisfy the demand for these 8 billion people on this planet. So then they said, you know what? If we could figure out a way to genetically engineer the leg hemoglobin, then we won't have to worry about growing a bunch of soybean plants. So they said, you know what we need to do? We're going to get a yeast. Okay, we're going to get a yeast. And when we get this yeast microbe, we're going to use a technology called CRISPR-9. Okay, CRISPR. All right, all of y'all need to know what CRISPR is, because CRISPR is the technology of the future. All right, and we're gonna get to that soy thing. People asking about why we shouldn't eat soy. Go to my YouTube channel and you'll see my effects on soy. So,
CRISPR.
CRISPR. So CRISPR is an acronym, all right, and it's CRISPR. CRISPR stands for clustered, all right, clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindrome repeats. Clustered as in something clustered together, regularly interspaced. Think of a fence that has a picket fence. They got all those little wooden pickets going in a straight line. Say you pulled out 3 of them pickets. Every 3 you picked out one. Okay, so what is that? That's regularly interspaced. It's a pattern. And then it says short palindromic repeats. A palindrome is like rats live on no evil star. If you say that phrase, rats live on no evil star, guess what? You can say it forward and you can say it backward. So palindrome is a word that can be read forward or backward, and it's going to be the same. So clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic repeats is CRISPR. And CRISPR's technology is based on the Cas9 guide RNA system. And what is that? Well, it is a a collect not a collection but a complex, and a complex is made up of two parts. One part, to make it simple, is a scissor. A scissor. It is a nuclease, which is a type of enzyme, and this enzyme's function is a scissor. Okay? Then the guide RNA is a GPS mechanism. Y'all know what GPS is? A Google Maps. So it's a scissor and a Google Maps. So what do you think a scissor and a Google Map genetic program is going to do in your body or in an organism's body? It's going to use the GPS to search and find a particular section in your DNA, which would be a gene. And then once they find that section, that nuclease enzyme, which is the scissor, is going to cut and clip and edit so that things are removed and things are added. That way you can have polka dots or elephant ears, or maybe you want big breasts, maybe you want a breast reduction. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're trying to be lighter, darker, grow an extra arm or a leg. This is what gene editing affords you. Now, have they gotten this far with it? I would think underground, yes. Not in front of the mass, no. But what they're introducing to us is it on a burger, and on a yeast. So it's like, oh, who cares? So they use this CRISPR-9, they use this CRISPR technology to gene edit, right? The yeast to do what? They clip the program out of the soybean nodule, the root, and they put it into, they copy and paste it into the yeast, so that when they feed the yeast sugar, what is the yeast going to do? It's going to produce the leg hemoglobin. So they got these big vats and yeast, and they're feeding it sugar. What does that sound like, Rich? Sound like beer to me. So if you all look up Belgian beer, how to brew Belgian beer, that process that they do to brew Belgian beer, just replace the beer with blood. So they got big vats where they're using gene-edited yeast, genetically altered yeast by this CRISPR system, in order to produce large quantities of blood. To do what? To put this blood into textured wheat protein, right? And make a burger that they can fry on a grill and you to eat. So if you eating a bunch of genetically altered yeast, and you're eating the product of a bunch of genetically altered yeast, I mean, more than likely your body's going to get affected by that in one way or another. And most people I know who had the Impossible Burger then had bubble guts. You know what I'm saying? Especially the White Castle one.
Oh shit! No, I didn't eat that. No,
You know what I'm
I didn't.
saying?
I didn't. Oh man. Whew.
But if you had regular White Castle burgers, it gave you bubble guts too. So I
Shit,
guess,
yo. Why,
it
that